A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have with me uh, Mr. Sudhakar Rao. He is the Director Branding at the ICFAI Group. They run educational institutions across the length and breadth of the country. And in fact, they have educational institutions even in the Northeast. At this point of time, as all of us know, we've seen very different evolution in education as we know it. Online education was always happening, but what we've seen in the last 3 to 4 months has been the accelerated pace of change in the education space. We've seen many students who had probably booked seats in global B schools, but they have started learning from the comfort of their homes back here in India because they couldn't travel. What do you think have been, some of the big changes that have happened in the online education space over the last 3 4 months?
As COVID-19 hit us actually hard, and many industries, including education, have started grappling with the available tools, and they are trying to stay connected with the students. In this journey of trying to connect with the students, the phase one has been to make sense of what all can be done. That is the confusion phase, and they came out of it, and then they thought that they have to actually begin their business in some manner. Phase two has been to build infrastructure. What kind of tools have to be used, and what is the easiest way, and what is the fastest method to actually stay in connection with the students. And the third phase has been, after having stayed in connection, to build their institutional difference in the sense that every institution stands for its own philosophy, its own unique features. So how these unique features and philosophy and differentiation is communicated and maintained through these online modes is what I think is the maturity phase. And parallelly, while this thinking from confusion to infrastructure to differentiation has evolved, the adoption of technology has been from tool to learning management system to own permanently built own learning management system. In phase one, they have selected tools like Zoom, WhatsApp, all kinds of other tools like Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. And the second phase, they have gone to off-the-shelf learning management system that's available. But it's not the entirety of it, but it is a little better than the tool. Whereas in the third phase, or which is the maturity phase, the institutions have started building their own learning management systems. For example, at ICFI, we have built a learning management system 12 years back, and it is called QuickForce. QuickForce integrates a great deal of experience for the student online, and it looks like the student is actually dealing with the entire institution. It is the whole school feeling. It's not just a tool. I think a large number of institutions are also trying to build their own systems and have a permanent LMS. As I said, having a tool is like staying in a hotel. Having an off-the-shelf LMS is like staying in a rented house, whereas your own LMS is like building your own home as per your needs. I think everybody would like to build their own home.
So you saying that you had built your own home sometime back, but do you feel that more rooms in that home are suddenly being used now?
Exactly. In the past, we were not compelled to use the entirety. We had built the infrastructure and kept it, and we probably used about 30% in the past. But now we are using it to the full potential, that is 100% of all the infrastructure that is available there.
Also, in this phase when the capacity utilization moves up so rapidly, you would also then find a lot of shortcomings in the existing systems, right? So isn't that a lot of kind of plug and play as well as keep on tweaking and improvising happening all along?
Correct. I think that is true for any industry when they grapple with new technologies. And this generation of online education will overcome all these difficulties, the plug and play to maturity. And I think it is a constant journey. As we move forward as well, more and more tools will be available and greater facilities will be created, all towards one objective, that objective of giving the student an exclusive feeling that he is not away from his own campus. I know it cannot be bridged 100%, but to an extent possible, I think the journey will be made to give it a whole campus feel.
So, online education for a very long time has been, especially in countries like India, where, it's the big cities which have got the best talent when it comes to, the teaching pool of talent, if I may say so. As a result, they've always said that online education is probably going to help the far-flung areas or, the interiors of the country. Has that day come upon us? Are we going to see a university without walls in the future or in the near future? If I may say so.
There are three important points here with respect to your question. Number one, currently, if you take school education or higher education, with the existing tools, the connect with the students is roughly around 50%. If you take the entire universe of the students, we are able to connect. I mean, when I say we, the entire education as a system is able to connect not more than 50% of the students. There are again three important reasons why it is not happening. You need devices for the students. You need internet connectivity. Third, you need bandwidth after having provided internet connectivity. And the fourth, electricity in all these areas. I'm not saying all these four are the hurdles in each and every region. No, but this is an interplay of either three or all the four in areas where we are not able to cover 50% of the student population. In India, as we talk, there are roughly about 37 crores of students at various levels from KG to PG to research, studying something somewhere all the time. That's a huge segment. It is 1/4 of the population. Now, out of that, we are able to reach through online education today only up to 50%. So there's a large section out there which is not contacted yet. And therefore, the government will have to rapid build this infrastructure and take it forward. We need to come up with creative solutions to provide affordable devices and also ramp up the infrastructure for internet connectivity. Private players will have to come in, CSR activities will have to be taken up. Government itself will have to lead the way. And then on a mission mode, we can tackle this. I have seen, for example, in a city like Hyderabad, during the lockdown, the municipal administration department was on a mission mode to repair all the roads and relay the entire road system here in the city. Similarly, if you're on a mission mode to build the infrastructure and make sure everybody is connected, we will make a decent progress in terms of reaching the student. I think the government has to come onto the mission mode and take the help of other allied players like private and the industry and CSR and voluntary groups. Now, having said this, the way forward is going to be blended learning. Now, blended learning is even when the institutions are open for face-to-face interaction, when the campuses are open, you can go and sit down in the classroom and learn. Even at that time, the component of online will be meaningfully kept for your asynchronous learning. And I think a lot of time that we waste in the classroom, today we realize that we have wasted a lot of time inside the classroom. That should be kept for peer learning, learning from others by debate and discussion, by observation, building camaraderie, bonding, so on and so forth. And that's what the campuses should be meant for. Other than that, I think we can give an open source categorization and references for students to pick up and learn online and come ready for a discussion inside the classroom and see the real world out there. So it's not going to be that COVID is going to stay put forever and we are going to have completely online. No, it's going to be a blended learning, and we need to prepare our students of next generation for the real world like the way we have been doing. But the component of online will take a meaningful proportion, and that will continue to be our future.
Okay, and speaking about infrastructure and the advantages, you see the cost of education coming down because obviously universities will be spending less on physical infrastructure as the online usage goes up.
It is like this. By way of regulation, already a lot of institutions have spent money on physical infrastructure. So that's a given. That's a sunk cost, if you want to call it. Now,
so maybe it'll become like the hotel that you were referring to.
Yeah, now when you are starting the online education or the hybrid education, you will have to have both. But if someone were to start afresh today, yes, the cost on the physical infrastructure would go down. And what it means is that the physical spaces, the real estate, would not be regarded as premium as it were some time back. We would be spending more time and energy and regard for the value that is transacted through these tools and then meaningfully corroborated by the physical spaces. So physical space alone would lose premium.
Since you wear the hat of branding, I should ask you a question related to that. Do you see the university brand of the future in India as a brand that will have no physical building? That has to be the same.
It looks like a romanticized idea, but I don't think that's going to be real. In my view, you will need physical buildings as well. As I said, it is meant for peer learning, learning by debate, navigating through counterpoints, leadership building, bonding, camaraderie, so on and so forth. I think physical campuses will be definitely required. It will not be like only online campuses and there will be nothing physical. I don't think that's a possibility. In my view, university brands will ride more on the value that they transact, the content that they bring forth on the table, and allow the student to learn in a free and a forward-looking manner. For example, earlier when we were teaching inside the classroom, we did not allow anyone to actually log into their devices. It was a disturbance. But today you cannot do that. We have to allow everyone to do that. And therefore, there are implications on the teachers, the faculty members as well, to teach or facilitate only that which is not available on the Google. We don't have to waste time. So some of the best teachers will become better and some of the systems will become more efficient and students also will be much, much more serious. Yes, some cost will definitely be reduced by sharing best of the faculty across various institutions. Today, the pooling of resources is the order of the day to lower the costs. And therefore, it is much, much better for the student whose cost of degree will actually come down. And therefore, the ecosystem will benefit. Definitely, that benefit is available. But I will not agree with you that the entire physical campus will come to a naught.
Okay, but you made a very important point about the talent available for teaching. Suddenly, there is a lot more possibilities, right? Because in the past, like we spoke earlier, the big cities used to corner a large share of the talent. So, is there a level playing field that's already happened?
Exactly. It is very important for us to understand that in the last 4 months, we've been able to get any resource online, even for a conversation. Earlier, that used to happen at a cost. It used to happen at a lag, and it used to happen after a time. Now, today, all of them have changed their mindset and they're available. And even if they are available at a cost, that is much, much lower. Today, you have no burden of actually traveling across continents. You don't have to attend those conferences, which were always a waste of money. The same person can speak to millions and millions of people online, address the students of my 60 members in the class as well, and at the same cost. So the conferencing costs have completely been done away with, and therefore today the resources sharing is becoming a reality for us and easier for us as well. And even those resource persons have realized that they need to plug into this ongoing situation and stay ahead. So there is a competition even among the resource persons, I can tell you very frankly, and they are more open-minded. For example, a professor in a university in Atlanta is able to connect with my interest group and my students just on a homework of 2 days. Earlier, I had to work with the same professor for 2 months. I mean, that's the difference.
And last but not the least, finally, the government of India has kind of uh, recently announced the new education policy. So, what is your view about it from the inside?
The new education policy is good. We welcome the policy on the following counts.
Okay.
One, the intent is really good. some of the changes that they have proposed are quite sweeping in nature. Therefore, it is another word for boldness, which is another word for decisiveness, and therefore it is welcome.
Which are those changes that you're talking about?
Any intent that is as firm as this is most welcome. And therefore, some of the structural changes that they have brought in are going to be useful to our country and to the next generation, especially when you have an education policy change after a huge gap of 34 years. A lot of things have changed, and therefore we need to be in tune with the time. And from that point of view, yes, we welcome the new education policy. But there are certain final aspects where I think it is difficult to implement in terms of teaching in the mother tongue or the native local language at the school level is one that they will have to grapple with. I think a lot more discussion is required, and the implementation responsibility is with the states, and therefore it will hit some kind of snag. And some of the government arms of the schools themselves have said they will not be able to teach in the native language, for example, Kendra Vidyalayas. So this discussion will go on for another month, and then fine-tuning will be done. For any policy, fine-tuning is required, and the debate is unavoidable. After a month or so, I think things will settle down, better sense will prevail, and I'm sure from education industry and on my own behalf, I would like to say that new education policy should work on these forward-looking measures with greater intent and commitment of funds as well, and not just make it a slogan that we have seen for all the while with various successive governments. I think it is time for the industry and the government and all the well-meaning players to work together, welcome these measures, fine-tune them, and apply to the system so that we bring out the best and give it to the students, and we owe it to them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rao, for a very interesting chat this afternoon. It gave us a very good glimpse into the way education in India and the world over is probably headed. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Thanks for inviting me. I enjoyed this conversation.